Alright guys, before I begin this video, I want to state that this is my iQOO 13, which I bought with my own money, not sponsored in any way. This is a very good phone. No matter what I say in this video, this phone remains as a very good phone, probably top 2 in its price segment, but I have a pretty major complaint about it, especially because this is the biggest selling feature of the phone. So check this out. On the left, we have the OnePlus 13 and on the right, we have the iQOO 13. Both devices are running on their best performance modes, that is Pro Gamer mode on the OnePlus 13 and Monster mode on the iQOO 13. Both devices are having the latest Snapdragon 8 Elite SoC and feature 12GB of RAM and 256GB of UFS 4.0 storage. So why is the OnePlus 13 actually significantly outperforming the iQOO 13 in this game? This is Grid Legends, by the way. It's the most graphically intensive game on Android, and I have made it even more intensive by modifying the config file to remove dynamic resolution and upping the frame rate to 60 FPS. The difference can be as large as 15 FPS, and it's clear why. The OnePlus 13 is simply pushing a lot more power and sustaining much higher temperatures than the iQOO 13. Some of you may say, hey, the OnePlus 13 is getting much hotter than the iQOO 13. But the fact is, I do not care about temperatures. I am consciously choosing to play the game in Pro Gamer mode or in Monster mode because all I care about is performance. I could play using the balanced mode if I cared about temperatures. Basically, the point that I want to get to is that the iQOO 13 is not providing the full performance of the Snapdragon 8 Elite despite being in Monster mode. This does not affect performance in lighter titles like BGMI, but it will definitely affect somewhat in higher games or even in emulation performance. Now, some of the more curious amongst you may then ask, why does the iQOO 13 perform so well in AnTuTu, where it's almost always or mostly on par or sometimes better than the OnePlus 13 and other phones? Well, let me show you why. So pay attention to this AnTuTu benchmark run, where the GPU is being stressed to the maximum, and just check out the clock speeds. The Adreno 830 GPU in the Snapdragon 8 Elite is boosting all the way to 1100 MHz and stays that way for the entire duration of the first GPU rendering section. That's great. The device also sustained pretty high power draw and high temperatures. Now, let's test another GPU benchmark, 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme, which is a 4K graphics benchmark. Do note that the device is completely cool before running this benchmark. Okay, so the benchmark is running. And oh, what happened there? Just after 18 seconds or so, the GPU stopped boosting. It significantly dropped in clock speeds under 800 MHz and is reflected by the drop in power draw and temperatures. And trust me, the device is not even close to being as hot as it was in AnTuTu. So what is going on here? Next, I tried the same benchmark but with a thermoelectric cooler, and the device was very cool when I started the benchmark. Okay, so now it has passed 18 seconds and it's still boosting. But just after 30 seconds, the GPU stops boosting again. The device is just a little warm. I won't even call it hot. Just compare the AnTuTu run without a cooler against the 3D Mark run with a cooler. Despite not using a cooler, the iQOO 13 continues to boost for the entire GPU rendering period in AnTuTu, while it only lasts for 30 seconds best case in 3D Mark with a cooler. In AnTuTu, the iQOO 13 got a lot hotter as it was sustaining much higher power draw and temperatures on the GPU. So what the hell is going on, guys? This, my friend, is a classic case of benchmark cheating, where the phone is only pushing its full performance when it detects a particular set of benchmark applications is running. In this case, the benchmark being AnTuTu. This is an age-old case of benchmark cheating that several manufacturers have been guilty of doing in the past, like Samsung, Xiaomi, Huawei, Oppo, etc. Actually, this used to be most prevalent amongst MediaTek devices. Samsung even ended up paying 13.4 million US dollars due to a class action lawsuit. Now, these benchmark cheating scandals seem to be a thing of the past until I saw this behavior on the iQOO 13, which, like I have been saying, is actually still a very good phone overall, but it does cheat in the AnTuTu benchmark. Don't believe me? Let me prove it to you. I'm going to modify the 3D Mark application package in a way such that the iQOO 13 detects it as AnTuTu. Just follow this tutorial. I don't recommend doing this for multiplayer games, but you can do it for emulators to try and get the maximum performance for high-end emulation gaming. So here I'm going to rename the 3D Mark app and save it as 3D Mark modded and set the package name to the exact package name of AnTuTu. Do note you must uninstall the real AnTuTu to be able to install this. Okay, saving the APK and then install. Now check this out, same 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme and the iQOO 13 keeps boosting all the way through to the end of the benchmark, never dropping below 967 MHz and mostly sticking to 1100 MHz. I also ran it again but with a cooler and it only marginally improves performance, but it keeps the device even cooler. Even in a stress test, the iQOO 13 provides significantly better performance in the modded 3D Mark application benchmark in the first 10 loops compared to the vanilla app. So this is a clear case of benchmark cheating that iQOO is doing, and it simply does not paint a positive picture in my eye. I don't understand this because the phone itself is actually quite good. It covers all the basics and provides more features and comes at a great price. So why do this type of benchmark cheating? Some people may say that the iQOO 13 is significantly cheaper than other competing phones like the OnePlus 13 and the iQOO 13 stays cooler, but this is irrelevant. The USP of iQOO phones has always been performance, and someone buying an iQOO phone is probably a bit more tech savvy and cares more about performance compared to the general user. So performance should not be an aspect that we end up complaining about when using an iQOO phone. I am consciously choosing to play the game in monster mode, so all I care about is performance. So why not unleash it? There is a balance mode that I can always use if I care about thermals. I feel iQOO should remedy this. iQOO should rename the monster mode and call it as performance mode and provide a real monster mode that unleashes the full performance of the Snapdragon 8 Elite. Once again, if you are playing games like BGMI, you may not notice this, but if you are playing heavier games like Grid Legends with unlocked graphics or Warzone or open world games like Wuthering Waves or Zenless Zone Zero, you may notice that the iQOO 13 is not performing as well as phones like the OnePlus 13. You may also notice this in emulation performance, although for emulation I can suggest you to apply the same trick that I did for 3D Mark, that is to spoof your emulator and save it as AnTuTu to get the full performance of the phone. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Do let me know what you think about this situation. You can try to replicate this if you have any other iQOO phone. And please make sure to hit like, share and subscribe. Take care and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.